My name is Claire Wineland.
My name is Erin Harrington.
My name is Heidi.
My name is Alyssa.
I'm living with something called cystic fibrosis. Doctors say I have around a year left to live, but that doesn't really matter to me because death is inevitable. But living a life that we are proud of, that is something we can actually control. I have something called cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disease, meaning you're born with it, and it causes an overload of mucus to accumulate in your body, which causes a bunch of different issues. You know, lung infections, lung failure, organ failure, your stomach doesn't work, your pancreas doesn't work, your liver doesn't work. You get diabetes, you get adrenal failure, you get a multitude of different issues. I have always had CF, and I've always known that I had CF.
I was diagnosed with CF when I was about 2 years old.
I was diagnosed when I was still in my mother's stomach via amniocentesis. They knew to test me because my older sister has it.
I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis August of 2003.
Ever since the day I was diagnosed, I have been doing a routine of medications and treatments.
Taking like 20 to 25 pills a day, depending on if I'm sick or not, or what's going on.
I take 14 pills a day, plus 5 with each meal.
I probably take about 25 to 30 pills a day. With my treatments, I do 2 hours per day when I'm healthy and up to 4 hours when I'm sick.
This breaks the mucus away from the walls of my lungs. And it's pretty quiet.
In the mornings when I wake up for school, I do a 30-minute vest machine, plus 2 nebs, which are hypertonic and amikacin. And after school, I do another 30-minute vest machine, plus hypertonic, Dornase, and amikacin. And along with those 2 treatments, I do Symbicort and albuterol, which are 2 inhalers.
I just started a new drug called Symdeko, which is a DNA modulator. It kind of corrects the way that the water moves in and out of my cells, because the CFTR protein is the thing that is faulty in CF. Usually I have this thick, sticky mucus built up. I mean, I still have it, but with the modulator, it kind of stops further damage from happening to my lungs, as bacteria gets harbored in my lungs from the thick, sticky mucus, and it's really hard to get it out and eradicate it. So I'm on a different antibiotic every other month. Symdeko has given me more energy. It's helped me gain weight because that's also something CF patients struggle with. Pancreas is also affected. It leads to malabsorption because your enzymes can't get it out enough. You have to take extra enzymes. So I haven't had IV antibiotics in a year and a half, which is great because I used to have them at least once a year since I was 18 and I'm now 25, so that's a big deal to be IV free like that. It's kind of like the closest thing to like recharging my battery. Like if your iPhone's at 69%, you're gonna charge it. Up until this point, there hasn't been anything other than my breathing treatments and stuff that have been able to recharge my lungs until Symdeko. Symdeko is like a faulty charger because it charges like a little bit.
With my hospital situation, I can go from not being in the hospital for 5 years or 7 times a year. It just kind of depends on how my lung function is and the bacteria in my lungs. If I feel like I'm getting sick and I want to tune up, if I can make my own decision in that area too. When I was in middle school, before that I went 5 years without being in the hospital. When I hit middle school, it went downhill and I did get sick. Ever since then, I've been in and out of the hospital so much, and I now have a bunch of scar tissue in my right arm. And in my left arm, it's kind of okay. It's manageable, but to be safe, they put a port in my chest, and every time I need IVs or blood draw, they take it out of my port, and my port goes right to my heart.
Something that was kind of a wake-up call for me was whenever I got pregnant, because I realized it's not just about me anymore, and I really have to stick to all my treatments and not skip anything. My husband and I weren't trying to have a child yet. We didn't know if we could because I was always told my whole life that thicker cervical mucus, everything's gonna be harder than just natural conception. So I thought I would have to do IVF or something of that nature in order to conceive, and nope, surprise. And I didn't start getting sick until I was like 18. I caught some new bacterias that I now carry forever and never fully eradicated. They're just treated and like tamed every so often.
People have been really accepting of my disease. I just get a lot of questions. My number one question is if it's contagious. And no, it's not. It's just if I'm with another cystic fibrosis patient, that's when it can get harmful for me and for the other person. It's never harmful for another person without CF. In fact, I'm more prone to getting sick than they are.
Also, get your flu shots.
It's progressive, which means as you get older, it gets worse. It's also terminal, so it ends in death. Unless you get cured or have a lung transplant or miraculously get saved by an angel, it will kill you. I've nearly died 6 times, and actually died once, like fully flatlined once, in an elevator, high on fentanyl, of all places to die.
CF has affected me in really positive ways and also really negative ways. From the negative side of it, there's a very high risk of infection and hospitalization, which leads to a lot of responsibility from me, because I know if I don't keep up with my treatments, then there are really big consequences that come with that. From the positive side of it, I know that I've made bonds with people that I would never have made without having CF, so for that I'm grateful. And I wouldn't be the person I am today without having cystic fibrosis.